In this episode of Be the Teacher, we'll be discussing my portfolio and how to prepare a perfect portfolio. The fact is, I have many classes and many portfolios, but the trick to passing that portfolio is pretty much the same for each and every class. For this particular episode, I'm going to use my senior film class, but trust me, the advice that I'm going to give you would apply to any class, whether you're in my acting class, my script writing class, my English class, or, of course, my senior film class. We start by taking a trip to my website. Remember, everything's posted on my website. If you go to the Homework Central and you find your class, remember for this particular episode we're using the film class, you'll be taken to your class page. Everything is posted online, so right now you have both the Marking Period 1 checklist and the Marking Period 1 rubric on my website. Both of these can be used to create your perfect binder. This is the portfolio work status form. I try to make it look the same for each and every one of my classes. If you look at the tables below, each table represents a section of your classroom portfolio / classroom binder, and you should have a divider for each section listed on the checklist with a tab identifying that section. I always break the binder down into different tables. In other words, each one of these tables below here represents a section of the binder, and it has the assignments that need to be in that section and the order that I hope to see. There's also a space for you to begin planning. You can say whether you have an assignment or whether you don't have an assignment. If you have an assignment, great, you're all set. Just put it in that section and put it in order. If you don't have an assignment, well, if I haven't collected the portfolio yet, you can use this page as an organizational tool. You can click Don't Have, and then you can go do the assignment and change your answer to Have when you've completed it. So here for the film class, you can see the 4 sections that I expect to see. You can also see the different assignments that I expect to find in each of those sections. That's pretty much it. The only thing I would suggest is that you make sure the assignments are done, you make sure the assignments are revised if they're super messy, and that you make sure the items are once again in order. Remember, if the problem is just that something is wrinkled, my handy dandy tip is to either scan it with a CamScan app on your phone or to photocopy. When something is wrinkled, if you photocopy it or scan it, it tends to look brand new once you print it out again. Now, remember, each portfolio checklist tends to have 2 sides. There's just that much stuff that we do during a marking period. So here you can see some of the other sections that are required for your portfolio. There's always instructions and stuff that might be confusing. I tend to highlight and underline and bold. So for example, right here, you see you have to place one of the following projects in your hands-on 1 section. That means the rest of the projects you don't have to put there, just one of these projects. See, this is for my first marking period senior film class, and at that point we've only done one of these projects. They'll get to the 4 that they're missing later on down the line. Students will get to the other 3 that they're missing because they must do 4 out of 5 assignments later on down the line. But that's something that we should discuss during the second marking period checklist for the senior film class. On the back of the checklist, there's also this box here that lets me know something that I may need to know about your portfolio. For example, maybe you have an 8th section for tests and quizzes, and that's where I'll find all your tests and quizzes. Well, you'll leave me that message here. Or maybe you have a section where you came up with your own order. Well, you'll leave me that message here because I keep this sheet next to me while I'm grading your portfolio. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Like I said, if you're missing something, you can go and you can make it up. You see, I only put things on the checklist that I post on our school webpage. If I can't post it on the school webpage, I don't put it on the checklist. There's a few exceptions to this rule. For example, if something is a gigantic packet that I can't post online because it's too big, I might not post that on the internet. But for the most part, I try to include only the assignments that are on our school webpage. That way, when you get your checklist, you can go back and make up any assignments you're missing. Like I said, this is not a trap. I'm just asking you to take your work and display it proudly and go back and make any changes that might be getting in the way of total success. But how do we measure that success? Well, For every single portfolio, I prepare a rubric. Every class's rubric is broken down into the same 4 categories: distinguished, proficient, basic, and unsatisfactory. Now, the rubric starts by saying, "Dear whoever," that's where I'm going to put your name. The following list contains comments that I frequently use when grading portfolios. After carefully reviewing your work, I selected the best 7 comments for your work. I limited my comments to 7 that specifically apply to your work, and I assure you that I spent a great deal of time customizing this sheet to your work. Please take time to read these comments as I took time to review your work. And that's the truth. I really take a long time with each and every portfolio. And I am going to pick the comments that are best for you. Now, many times people want to be distinguished, and I can understand that. So how do you get there? Well, in my portfolio, in most boxes, there are things that are underlined. Yes, sentences and phrases that are underlined. What you want to do is figure out where you want to be in that particular category, and you want to go to the underlined phrases to make sure that that's how your work looks. For example, here I'm looking for exquisite answers when it comes to the hands-on and the hands-on mini assignments. Exquisite answers. So when you were doing your PowerPoint, did you do the best that you possibly could? Or are your answers just generally appropriate to the task? Hey, listen, proficient is a great category. That may be where you want to be. And if so, I underline words that will help you get there. Once you are done reviewing the underlined sections, you'll come down here to the bottom where once you get this sheet back, I'll give you comments. So if you're looking at the sheet right now to prepare your portfolio, it's empty. But I promise you, I will eventually fill it up with a whole bunch of data. And I'll give you specific grades on certain parts of your portfolio. Here, for example, I give the hands-on 1 grade, and I give a journal grade, and then I give a total binder grade. Usually the total binder grade is the total grade for all the different sections of your binder, while the journal grade and the hands-on grade are here for this particular class are just a grade for those 2 assignments. So don't make the mistake of totaling up all the boxes down below to get this grade here. This grade is a composite of the work inside your portfolio and the results of your rubric. Like I said, this is not a trap. So if you have everything in your portfolio and you address the underlined sentences for the part of the rubric that you want to land on, you should be fine. You should get a great portfolio grade that you'll be proud of. And I promise to give you comments if your portfolio is good that you'll be able to take home to your parents or your guardians. So that's it. That's it for this episode of Be the Teacher. In this episode, I told you how to use the rubric to get the greatest portfolio grade ever. And I told you how to use the checklist, both to leave me information that I need to know about your portfolio and to use as an organizational tool when you're getting together assignments that may be out of order or missing. And I also told you how to use our class webpage to download assignments that you may be missing. And that's it. That's it for this episode of Be the Teacher. Soon I'll be giving you the date when your portfolio is due. And when I take it, I will use the checklist that I've assigned your class and the rubric to grade you. I hope you do a great job because I know that I want you to be successful. Well, that's it for this episode of Be the Teacher, and I'll see you next time.